This is Rob Marchant from Clive Emson, Land and Property Auctioneers, and we're here to look at number 19 High Street, Shanklin. It's the former NatWest Bank, so it's the ground floor area here, and also this on the first floor. The upper floor has been converted into a residential dwelling which has been sold off on a long lease. So we're looking at the ground floor, first floor, and there's also, as one would expect with a former bank, a significant basement which used to hold the strong room and safes. Attractive building, this one, situated right in the heart of Shanklin. And looking down towards the church and Regent Street beyond. So since NatWest closed the branch some years ago, the ground and first floor have been significantly refurbished and upgraded, and are now ideally suited for future commercial use, be that retail or perhaps accountants or solicitors, something of that nature. Might be ideal for that in terms of the significant storage that's available in the basement, and a number of meeting rooms and the like. Alternatively, it might be the case that somebody might want to look at applying for planning consent to convert the first floor into a residential dwelling, and plenty of size and scope to do that. There is an existing doorway at the side of the building here which provides access to the flat on the first floor, and which may well be usable as a means of entry for a first floor flat if required. So without any further ado, let's head over and have a look at what the internal accommodation has got to offer. So moving inside through this heavy wooden door, we've got the entrance lobby, and that in turn opens out onto this lovely big space. Would have been the former banking hall, ideally suited now for retail or commercial use, subject to any required consents, having previously been in use as a branch of NatWest. Plenty of space. Stairs there up to the first floor. There are other access points for that, so we'll cover that off later in the video. But for now, this lovely big space, which would be ideal perhaps for retail or perhaps for reception, public area for solicitors, accountants, or dentists, chiropractor, that kind of commercial use, particularly in view of all the storage on the lower floor and the scope and offices upstairs. Moving on further through, we've got this staff kitchen area, office cum meeting room. There's a staff cloakroom, and then a doorway out to the rear of the building. See the fire escape there from the upper floors. And then, as one would expect with a former bank, there's a large basement area. The strong room was situated. So let's head on down and have a look at the lower floor. So as indicated, and as one would expect with former bank premises, we've got a large basement vault, huge great steel door there. No doubt that's all the funds were previously kept, and then inside there we've got further secure storage facilities, which may or may not be used for any use to the next owner or tenant, but they're nonetheless. But then moving on from there, there is some very useful storage space. As indicated, the property could well be ideally suited to perhaps solicitors, accountants, and the like. You may want storage space. We are in the middle of January taking this video, and it does seem incredibly dry down here. No evidence that I can see or indeed smell in terms of particular damp issues. Certainly no more than one would expect in a large basement like this. So, as indicated, some very useful storage. So having looked at the ground floor and now this lower level, let's head on and have a look at the first floor accommodation and see what's available there. So arriving here on the first floor, got some more lovely space. So this would certainly augment the ground floor space that we've looked at if this were used in commercial guise. Alternatively, one can't help but think this would make a lovely apartment here on the first floor, subject to the required consent for a change of use. The staircase there isn't the only point of access. We'll show the other potential access to a flat in a moment. There is undoubtedly scope and potential here to have quite a large residential unit and perhaps retain the ground floor commercial, again as indicated, subject to required consent. So again, this does go back fairway, more kitchen facilities here, another meeting room. Cloakroom here for use on the first floor. Access there to the fire escape, which we saw earlier from the ground floor. So a means of access there. But then moving on through, we've got more space here. Onto the High Street. And then, as indicated, there is a access here which services the flats on the upper floors, but which could potentially be utilised to provide access into this first floor area if one were to obtain planning and convert into a first floor flat. And that would mean that the staircase from the ground floor here could be closed off. So lots of scope and potential, flexibility, really is a lovely space. So that's all the internal accommodation. So in summary, that's 19 High Street in Shanklin, the former NatWest. Now looking up at the rear elevation, which we referenced in terms of the rear fire escape from the ground and first floors. Good scope and potential here for future commercial or retail use, or as indicated, perhaps for the first floor to obtain planning consent and be converted into an additional residential unit. Do with it as you will, but obviously buy it from us first. It's available in the next Clive Empson online land and property auction.